Hello and welcome to the Advertiser. What is the Advertiser? Well, that's a great question because this is the pilot episode. The Advertiser is, for lack of a better word, it is a podcast that hates on advertisement. I'm Bernie Thrasher. I'm running the podcast here. And I want to start this podcast, and hopefully every podcast, by saying that I understand that a lot of hard work and effort and skills and expertise goes into advertisement. And I get that. But I'm here to cut them down because there are tons of bad ones that I feel miss the point, miss the message. Maybe they just missed the mark by a little bit. But I'm not going to just let that go by because that's not who I am and that's not what this podcast is about. So, getting started with the first ever Advertiser commercial, I want to play you guys that Nationals Defining Moments commercial.
Bottom of the ninth moment. The Nats and Cubs are tied. Who comes up? Will Nieves. Who? Will Nieves, who in 12 years has never hit a home run in the majors. 2 fastballs, 2 strikes. But fastball number 3, swing! Opposite field.
That ball is out of here!
Game over.
A walk-off homer!
Now we know who Will Nieves is.
Nationals baseball on MASN. Be there for every defining moment.
Okay, so that commercial comes from, I'm not 100% sure when this series of ads came out. But it was around the 2007, 2008 calendar year, maybe even 2006. It's one of the first series of advertisements for the Washington Nationals on MASN. Why do I hate this? So many reasons. My biggest issue with it is the guy was annoying. The main guy in this, and in fact all the people in this was actually one of a series of commercials for the Nationals. Everyone in it is just, for lack of a better word, I feel like they were middle-aged squares. And you could say, oh, that's the target market. You know, you could say, you know, the research shows that these are the people that we're trying to get. But I think that nobody wants to think of themselves as a modern-day yuppie of sorts. And I think that that's really what's going on in this commercial. And I didn't like it. Another thing I really hated about this commercial, it dismisses the intelligence of the baseball fan. Nationals fans, you know, they might be new to baseball when this commercial came out. You know, like I said, somewhere from 06 to 08, right around when the Nationals first started. But they're not new to baseball. At least most of them weren't. This commercial says, oh, Will Nieves, you know, nobody knows him. Now everybody knows him. That's not true at all. I know for a fact that Will Nieves was a nobody. Then he hit that home run, and immediately following that, he was still a nobody. The guy was no good. And he was just a terrible player. So it really dismisses the intelligence of the baseball fan to just tell them, hey, Will Nieves, everybody knows him now. You know, just telling people you know Will Nieves, you might as well just tell people, oh, you love the Nationals. Like, it's not happening either way. It's just, the baseball fan, the modern baseball fan is smarter than that. And I think that's one of the biggest problems with commercials, with a lot of commercials and advertisements these days, is that they try and tell people too much of what they think, in the sense that they don't grant them enough intelligence. They don't understand, for instance, that the modern sports fan is, in my opinion, very, very smart, you know, very, very well versed. And you don't have to, you know, say, oh, Will Nieves, he's a superstar, and you know that after the home run. Like, he's really not. And I personally think that, at least from an athletic standpoint, it's pretty obvious formula. You market your superstars, and the Nationals even had a potential superstar, an up-and-comer at the time. His name was Ryan Zimmerman. Yeah, it was Ryan Zimmerman. And the dude was a great young third baseman. They even had Alfonso Soriano at the time, who was a perennial all-star around that time, one of the more exciting players in baseball. And they didn't market him. They marketed random Joe Schmoes like Will Nieves. Getting to the good of this commercial, because I want to get to the good of every commercial. I want to, you know, show them people what they were thinking. They did do a solid job of hitting the target market. They were, you know, they were looking for essentially the young and middle class professionals from the suburbs around the DC area, because that's who goes to Nationals baseball games. It's the same thing with hockey. That's the same type of people who go to those hockey games. And I think that really with every single person in all these campaigns, and this guy as well, they're all very, you can tell they're kind of suburban, kind of yuppie-ish. And that's kind of their target. And I will give them that. That is their target. But overall, I got to say, just dismisses the intelligence of the fan, which I cannot accept. And the guy was just so annoying, such a square. I didn't want to identify with him, and I don't think anybody wants to identify with that guy. The Nationals could have done a much better job. In fact, when this first came out, I even sent MASN. Excuse me, MASN could have done a better job, not the Nationals. I even sent MASN an email at the time telling them how terrible I thought this was. I thought it was just god awful, and I actually sent them an email, young Bernie Thrasher in high school. I said, this commercial is bad. You guys, I told them, please stop playing these commercials because I wanted to watch Nationals games, but I was getting so sick of seeing these MASN commercials. And it was on some other network that I was watching at the time, but I literally refused to watch MASN after, because these commercials they were always on, and they just annoyed me so much. And I said to myself, I will never watch a Nationals game on MASN again. And you know what? To this day, I haven't. So it goes to show you guys, you really gotta handle your marketing. You can't be bombarding fans too much. You can't be bombarding the consumer with annoying messages. I think they did a poor job of that. Until next week, guys, I am Bernie Thrasher, and this has been the Adverse Advertiser.